Okay. We're a little early, folks, and that's okay. So if anybody's here, if you want to pop in to the chat, say hi. And today we're doing picnic food. So if there is a picnic food that you happen to like in particular, please let us know. That would be lovely. Hi, Bianca. Good to see you. I am a little discombobulated. I usually have a helper, and he is out of town. So I am trying to figure out all the technical stuff that he usually takes care of for me. So we are actually a minute or so early. So I'm going to wait just a couple seconds to get started here. And I will just kind of got everything set. I think we're good. So that's terrific. If you want to tell me, Bianca, where are you? Where are you in the world? So I'm gonna have to let my dog out. He's gonna bark if I don't, because there's an Amazon truck. So I'm gonna let these guys out. I may have to let them in a bit because it is really too hot for them to be out there. So we're gonna start this off with our Instant Pot. We're gonna make some potato salad today. We're doing picnic food. Potato salad is one of the things we're going to make. And I have 2 pounds of red new potatoes, about that size. I'm going to put those in my Instant Pot, and I'm going to try something I've never tried before. Garden Grove, California. Nice. One of my sons lives in San Francisco. So, and I do love it out there. It's so beautiful. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but my grandchildren are here in Ohio, which is where I am. So we are here in Ohio because this is where my grandkids are, and where my husband's job is, and where we all grew up. So, all right, I've got that in there. I actually put my eggs and my potatoes in together. Goodness knows how it's gonna go. I have one egg that I'm afraid might explode. If it does, we're gonna have a bit of a mess, but we'll clean it up. No biggie. So to start that off, we've got our Instant Pot. So hello, Ruby. How are ya? I think I finally got things worked out a little bit. I was on early because I pressed the button too early, but what would the day be without a little chaos, right? So we are going to start this on manual. We're going to go for 5 minutes. There we go. So we can just let that be for a few minutes while it does its things. And then next, we are going to make some baked beans. So it's a hot one today, isn't it, Ruby? We're back to the heat and the humidity. Although tomorrow it's only supposed to be 80, so maybe we'll get a little reprieve again. But did you get the storms last night? They were weird. The storms were odd. And Bianca, just so you know, Ruby I'm in Ohio, she's in Indiana, so we get a lot of the same weather. She just gets it before I do usually. So, all right. I do use Bush's baked beans because they're gluten-free. I grew up eating Van Camp's, and those are not gluten-free. So, the things you learn about brands when you have like food allergies and food sensitivities and stuff like that. So we apparently did too. I slept through it. So the sky was astounding last night. It was beautiful. I posted on my personal page. We were driving back from Columbus, Ohio to Cincinnati, where I live. And I couldn't stop. I have this post, and there's like 3 more pictures with this beautiful video that I got. The sky was stunning last night. Unfortunately, that's because of the storms and because of the wildfires in Canada. So now, with it just being Mr. 513 and me, normally I wouldn't make 2 cans of beans, to be perfectly honest, but we also have some leftover hot dogs, and my husband absolutely adores Beanie Weenies, so he will be delighted that there's leftover beans for him to cut up the hot dogs, because I think he's kind of tired of just eating hot dogs, you know. I forget what he made them for, and it was something he and IT guy, or yeah, he and IT guy were thinking about doing together, and then they ended up not doing it. So, hey, Christy, welcome in. I was here early, not not on purpose. I accidentally hit the button and went live earlier than I intended today. But today, getting ready was so much better than yesterday. And if you are if you're on my Facebook page, you'll see that the craziness of yesterday afternoon did not stop with the stream. It actually continued after that a little bit. I was going to put something away, and by the way, when I make baked beans, I measure nothing. I put in dried onions, onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, ketchup, and some mustard. Occasionally, I'll fry up some bacon and put it in there, but since we're kind of watching our cholesterol, we're just kind of keeping it chill. So, yep, we got Bianca in the house. She's in Garden Grove, California. So, we welcome her in today. And so, anyway, baked beans is just one of those things I've made so many times. I don't need to really measure. I kind of know. Which, by the way, here's something I wanted to talk about today, because I think it's an interesting topic, and I want to see what you guys have to say about it. I was thinking about this earlier today because somebody put something in a Reddit chat I was looking at, and I can't remember what abbreviation it was that they didn't know. And they said, so for people who don't know what that means, it means this. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. That was great that he did that. And then I was thinking about it, and one of the things that I remember, and I'd been cooking for years, it was when Rachel Ray started doing her thing, and she hang on, I'm going to just get this started. Nope, function. Bake. We're going to bake this. We're going to do it nice and slow. Go for about 35 or 40 minutes. Let's go 35. And we're going to do 375. Normally I would do 350 if I were in the oven, but this has to be jacked up 25 degrees. But anyway, she used to say it so fast that I did not understand what she was saying when she said EVOO. And I was like, what in the world is EVOO? And then I saw she was using olive oil, and I'm like, is it a brand? I don't know. So, you know, if I ever use a term that you don't know, please ask, because I won't think you're stupid. Because literally, I think I was in my 40s, and I've been cooking for decades. And I was like, what the heck is EVOO? Which, in case you don't know, if you're a new cook, it's extra virgin olive oil. So I didn't know. So I don't ever want anybody to feel stupid. I want them to ask questions. I might laugh because I didn't think to say, oh, this is what it means, but I'm not laughing at you. I promise you that. So it's just one of those things. Like, you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and yet sometimes don't know what you do know. You don't realize that other people have no idea what you're talking about. So I I never want to be that person for anybody. So I just want y'all to know that. I want you to feel free to always question what I'm saying if you need to know. So we are making a potato salad today. We've got the beans going. We're going to make some chicken. The chicken can wait a little bit. I don't have a ton of it because it's just me and Mr. 5013 this week. So I miss IT guy. I really do. He's a big help around here. And, you know, when he goes, we'll adapt and all that. I'll be happy for him. But it's kind of weird, to be honest, with him not being around. So now I'm going to tell you something. The recipe that I'm adapting from says to use dill pickle relish drained. I just got the dill pickles because I don't have relish. I thought I did, but I don't. I only had sweet pickle relish. And that's not going to do in a potato salad. I also don't make potato salad very often. And if I do, it tends to be, this is going to be kind of a new adventure for us because normally if I make a potato salad, I am from the very German southwest corner of Ohio. So we tend to make a German potato salad, which is tends to be warm, tends to have an onion, a cooked onion base, and is quite savory. So this is still, because my husband will not want it cold, I will still have kind of a warmth to it. So that's funny. Thanks, Bianca. I appreciate that. And I do like Rachel Ray. That's the thing. I didn't dislike her, but it confused me. And actually, there aren't too many cooks out there that I can't stand. Because I think most of them are trying to do a good thing when they're out there doing their thing. There was a guy, okay, I'm going to show my age, y'all. I can't remember his last name. I just remember his first name was Justin. And he was the Cajun cook. And I used to love him because just listening to him speak was just hilarious. And he would make these like huge like crab boils and just big pots of etouffee and all these things. And he was so fun to watch. And I wasn't going to make a single thing that he cooked. But I guess that's how I ended up where I am right now, because I have always loved watching cooking shows. I used to watch some of Julia Child. Like, I know she was making elevated food accessible, but I don't want to go to if I can't make a coq au vin in my Instant Pot, I'm not making it. I need it that easy. So, and there was another woman, and again, I can't remember her last name. Sarah was her first name, and she did a show called 30-Minute Meals. That was a really good one. Can't remember. I think that was it. Those were like my favorites. Jacques Pepin, I watched him sometimes. America's Test Kitchen now is one of my favorites. I just prefer when they cook. I don't need all of the... I know some people like the sciencey bits about how molecules come together and all that. That's not my thing. So I just wanted it to taste good, to be honest. So, okay, that's funny that you say that, Christy, about the potato salads, because thanks, Ruby. Today I'm making that egg mayo and potato salad, and tomorrow I'm doing a chicken cordon bleu casserole, and I found a kind of more French warm potato and green bean salad, so which has that more vinegar type base to it. So, all right, next I'm going to, I did not open this, so I'm going to open it, drain it after I get on some gloves, and then we'll cut up our chicken and put that to the side until we're ready to cook that, because I'll wait till the Instant Pot is done. So, but yeah, that's what this this potato salad is. It's got mayonnaise, mustard, apple cider vinegar, a little bit of hot sauce, some paprika, some dill, and then potatoes and eggs. So we'll see how that goes. Salt and pepper, I would imagine I'll be adding some of that to it, but I'm going to cut open this chicken, and then we will get cutting on that. Oh, you need to be out of the sink. I don't need you touching chicken juice. So anyway, so I asked earlier, what is everybody's favorite picnic food? Seriously, I want to know. Mine used to be fried chicken. Oh man, that's childhood right there. We used to get a bucket of chicken all the time when we went to picnics. That was a staple for us. So if you've got a favorite, I would love to know what it is. All right, I think I've drained this pretty well. I've got a very old Instant Pot, and sometimes it doesn't quite catch, so I have to push it down to get the lid to catch. So we're doing it for 5 minutes, and then we'll do a 5-minute natural pressure release with that. So I can put that in here. And then I'm going to wash my hands so my hands aren't slippery while I'm cutting up the chicken. Yes, I'm washing my hands even with the gloves on, because ick. I love chicken. I don't like handling it raw. I know my poor regulars have heard this a dozen times at least, but not my thing. So anyway, that's oh, there you go, grilled dogs. Awesome. Yeah, I'm more of a brat person than a dog person, to be honest. And we have in Cincinnati, we are fans of the white bratwurst. So I like the other kind too, but I grew up eating the white bratwurst, which is interesting because, like, I think the Poles call it white wurst or something like that. I can't remember. We have a large Polish contingent in Cleveland. So actually one of my friends from Cleveland is of Polish descent. So anyway, and I think that's, it's really interesting about different cuisines and all of that. And you find out, like, countries from certain parts of the world have very similar stuff. So I don't know. It's still a pork-based bratwurst, but it's white. And I don't know why it's white. I guess, you know what? I will look into that and I will let you know, Ruby. Because it is, we have 2 different manufacturers that we get that from. And I'm barbecuing this chicken. Not barbecuing, not like grilling it out or anything. We're going to just use a barbecue sauce on it. But, it's funny. When my kids were little, I used to do this all the time. And then when they got to be teenagers, I had to make so many chicken breasts because I had... All right, I'm going to say something that might be controversial to some people. But here's the thing. I had a child who played soccer. I had a child who was in band. I will tell you, when it came to conditioning, the band was every bit as taxing as the soccer. Now, my son ran more, in soccer, but it's brutal. If you've got a marching band that is a competition band, and our high school was a competition band. The one year my son was a baritone sax. If you don't know what a baritone sax looks like, it is about, if I was sitting it on the floor, it'd be this big, okay? It's huge. Now, my son is 6'4", so he can handle that size. But one of the things they had to do in the mornings was they had to run with their instruments. Everybody. And that was one of the heaviest instruments. Now, the kids, obviously the ones with the vibraphones and, things like that, what you would call xylophones, that was not the situation for them, but everybody had to run because they needed to be in condition for marching. So yeah, my son used to run around the school with the baritone sax. So yeah. And my youngest IT guy, he has a medical condition, and he put the fear of God in him because he passed out the first day, and they called me in a panic because of his medical. They're like, he passed out. I'm like, he probably locked his knees. Is he okay? Is he speaking? Did he come to? They're like, yeah, he's fine now. And I'm like, okay. And then they said, can you come and stay tomorrow? Sure. So, because band camp was 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Long day. So I told them, I said, look, I am just a few miles away. I said, I will come in, see how it goes. And if he's okay, I'm not coming the next day. And he was. So that was good. Because I literally had very little to do for 12 hours. So anyway. Grilled corn is so good if it's made right. We used to go to a place that they soaked it all day, and then they would put it on the grill low and slow, and it had that like caramelized outside, even though it wasn't shucked. It still had all of that on there. Oh my gosh, that's still the best corn I've ever eaten in my life. And I was probably 7 or 8 years old when we used to go down there. Maybe till I was about 10. It was called Stricker's Grove. And a friend of my dad's owned a heating and air conditioning company. And they used to have their company picnic there. And we were always invited. So it was, so good. So good. Never had a brat is almost like a sausage. Only instead of having like an Italian sausage where it would be Italian foot, it's got a much milder profile, if you will. So I'm going to set this chicken aside. Okay, now I know I have to make brats one of these days so you guys can see what our brats look like. So, do you have Johnsonville where you are? I know Ruby probably does. But, yep, marching band. I'm telling you, it was brutal. It was a brutal one. So, ooh, I'm ahead of schedule. After yesterday, that is quite the, that is something that I'm going to be very, very happy about. I need to grab something here real quick. I have a coated whisk that I use in glass so I don't scratch it. All right, so we're going to make the dressing for this. And that is mayonnaise. Okay, now we're going to let this natural pressure release. That's that being done. We're going to let that go for 5 minutes. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Christy. Thank you. Favorite grilled food. So, yes, it is in a casing. All right. If you have the Johnsonville, it's in the casing like the Johnsonville, but it's white. I will show you guys. I will make sure I make that sometime soon because I'm working on next month. I'm going to try to get the whole month put together, especially since I don't know when IT guy is coming back. So Um, I could eat them, but I have high blood pressure right now. And so I'm trying to work my blood pressure down, and brats tend to have a lot of sodium in them. So I got to kind of watch what I'm doing. Dang it. Um, okay, so half a cup-ish. My husband likes it saucy, so we're going to use a little extra. My recommendation. I know some people like other stuff, but I'm telling you, if you want a more neutral flavor, this is it. So let's see here. I forgot my parsley. Dang it. All right, I will talk you through this, but I'm going to walk out to my garden real quick, and I'm going to snip some parsley. I'll be right back. I'm going to talk you all the way through. All right, out the back door. The dogs are going to be thrilled because they get to come back in when I come in. But my garden's right outside my back door. So for this part, I actually have 4 gardens. I know that's crazy, isn't it? So I am going to snip off some of this parsley. Yeah, that looks good. Right there. All right. It's probably not as much as they call for, but it's good enough. So we are coming back in, and the dogs are very happy. Okay. I'm going to rinse my parsley here real quick. Okay. Let me grab my small cutting board. And we are going to chop up some parsley here after we dry off the parsley. I think I got it. Yep, beer braised. That is a thing around here as well. So I have all these herbs and I forget to get them. And I was setting up early today, and I thought, oh, I don't want my parsley to wilt, so I'll just go get it right before stream. But I don't want to go without. So there's the parsley right there. Oh goodness. I told Mr. 513 that I need to really adjust our cooking, because with it just being the 2 of us, and our grocery buying for that matter. Not that IT guy, he's not a big eater, to be honest. My other 2 were much bigger eaters. Again, I mean, IT guy was in marching band for a year, but then a couple years, and then he just decided that wasn't for him anymore. But anyway, yeah, so I've got all these wonderful herbs, and I forget, and then I get in the middle of making something, and if I'm not on camera, it's easy to walk out and get it, but when I'm on camera, and parsley makes me crazy. You buy it, and like 2 days later, it's dead. So that's why I like having some to pick, to have some fresh parsley when you want it. By the way, did you know parsley is diuretic? And this is something else I learned. Herbs used to just, there's such a medicinal thing about herbs, which is kind of cool. They all have these really amazing things that they do in your body, and we've kind of lost that knowledge. I mean, I know some cultures still maintain that, but a lot don't. Like rosemary it's like a wonder drug. It is good for your memory. It's good for brain health in general. There's so many things, and I can't even remember them now, but like thyme has medicinal properties. Dill has medicinal properties. All these things we eat, or that we should be eating, and they don't have to be like overpowering. Like that's not a lot of parsley, but herbs are very powerful that way. So got my parsley in there. My relish was already in there. Duh. Let's see. I need a tablespoon of mustard. Calls for yellow. I like Dijon better, so that's what we're using. Ugh. Okay, I'm going to clean that off. Why does mustard do that more than anything else, I wonder? Ketchup does it on occasion, but mustard seems to be kind of consistently at burps, if you will. Close it back up and give it a good shake. But I know I sound a little woo-woo about the herbs, but it's true. It really is. Food can be medicine if we do it right. Let's see here. A little bit of apple cider vinegar. This is kind of a wonder thing too, but I'm very sensitive to acids, so I got to be real careful about eating too much of it. This is fine. Do about a tablespoon. So, and then this calls for some hot sauce. Now, again, y'all know I don't like spice. This is Cholula. It tends to elevate the flavor of something without making it super spicy. A few more pieces of celery, and I forgot, or celery, parsley. I forgot the celery, so I'm going to grab the celery. See this IT guy? See, this is when I miss you during stream with this stuff. So, grab out my celery. All right, some of my celery is starting to get a little peaked looking. So I'll pick through that because tonight is garbage night. These are pre-washed, by the way, just so you know. The bag broke, so I washed them all and everything. But you know what? I'm going to rinse it down again now that I've chopped it. Okay. Dry that off. Look, oh, I'm chopping celery. They love celery. So they're both right here at my feet. So, yup. I mean, I'm not anti-medicine, don't get me wrong, but as somebody who has issues with pharmaceuticals, that would be me. I will look for a natural remedy anytime. However, I literally have family members that are alive because of pharmaceuticals. Mr. 513 is a type 1 diabetic, and IT guy has a pituitary disorder. So, pharmaceuticals keep my family alive. I am not anti-pharmaceutical, just so y'all know. I'm anti how much they charge for them sometimes, but you know, we're not going to talk about that right now. We are that family that we meet our deductible every single year. And this year, IT guy fell off of our plan, so now we get to hit the max on both plans every year. So, crazy. It's a lot of money, people. Gotta tell you. IT guy has one medication that's over $5,000 a month without insurance. And with insurance, it's not cheap. So, and that's now that he's on a lower dose, now that he's older. So, but when he was taking his highest dose, it was close. It could be upwards of 10,000. So, oop, bag on it. Hopefully I didn't overcook the potatoes. Oh, a little bit of salt. I don't usually put much salt in. There's only about a half a teaspoon there, so, which is less than they call for. Okay. So, That's what it is, breathing and congestion. I knew time was for something. I couldn't remember. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. There's also something called mullein, mullein, that's supposed to be really good for lung health. So, and I got my paprika for garnish. So, I'm going to keep this up here because I'll put notes on it later. All right. We have let out the, give this a rinse real quick because that's all I need to do. And I need cold water. The eggs are going to go in cold water. So I'm going to get those out first. Yeah, I think that's one we might want to keep away from. So my son's on Cobra, and it's just mind-blowing to me what it's costing him. And my husband's company, and they've been a great company to work for, but they have just changed their insurance plan. And they are, I got grandfathered in because he's been at the company so long, but they are going to, for future people, they're going to no longer cover spouses and families, which stinks. So, you know what? This isn't going to work this way. I'm going to have to pour them. So I'm going to move this over to the sink. And I'm going to grab my handy dandy elf gloves. And we're going to dump those for a minute. So, and welcome in, by the way, Eddie. So, yeah, medicine is not cheap, for sure. I take a baby aspirin every day because of my high blood pressure. And that's the cheapest med that any of us take. So, on the bright side, I have a really great physician, and she prescribed me a vitamin that I could have to buy over the counter, but because she wants me to take extra iron, she prescribed it for me. So now I can pay for it with my HSA. So that I'm very, very grateful for. Okay, next I'm going to take this off of here and move it because I got to get my burner up to make the chicken. Okay, I'm going to move this over so it's out of our way. Yet another thing I miss you for, IT guy, during stream. I also miss being able to just run out and not have to worry about the dogs. I don't have to put them in the room every time. They sleep in IT guy's room, so when I go out, I pop them in there, in the room there. That's where they sleep at night right now, too. So, chicken. Chicken, chicken, chicken. Okay. Here we go. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. It startled one of the dogs. So. Like I said, we could talk about this one for days, but I don't know anybody who doesn't feel like it's a big deal. All right, I'm going to move my tomatoes out of the way here. What in the world did I drip that you guys are all excited about? Something. Okay. So we're going to turn that on. Let's see. I grab my medium nonstick. Get that on there. Well, we seem to be in agreement on that, you know. And, you know, what's really sad though, like I've got a neighbor who works for one. She takes calls, and people say the most horrible things to her. And I feel so bad for her because she's like literally just redirecting calls. And, you know, she doesn't set the rates. She just happens to be licensed to do that kind of work. So, you know, it just, those people have nothing to do with it. I feel really bad for them. I do. So, all right, here's our chicken. And yes, when I get it in the pan, I'm going to season it up. So, let's see. I want to use this guy. So, ransoms. I don't know what that is. I mean, we do have lots of. We don't have a lot of farm stands around here. We have a lot of farmers markets, not so much stands. Okay. I'm going to put this in here, but my eggs are in there, so I want to get those out of the sink before I... Okay, there we go. I'll crack these up here in a sec. I'm going to season up. I used some red new potatoes. They were on sale at Costco. Or not on sale, but that's the cheapest place to get like smaller potatoes. And again, I let them natural pressure release a little longer than I should have, unfortunately. So there might be a little bit soft, but we're supposed to cool them a bit before we put them in anyway. I don't know why I grabbed the salt. I'm not going to use that, but I will use the pepper. And we have talked about this so many times, you know, but I know some people love to make their own barbecue sauce. I know some people would never want to make their own barbecue sauce. For tonight, I'm hitting the easy button. This is a local place. They make their own sauce. It's meant to be warm, and you're actually supposed to warm it up before you eat it. So I'm gonna step off camera. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze after using that pepper. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Anyway, so crack up the eggs here, since that's my next thing. But, oh, random. Thanks for clarifying, Ruby. Okay. Yeah, I wish there were more of those. I know there are. I've seen those like online, but I haven't seen them around here. So, but again, I'm in a suburb, so that's. Well, that's the other thing, Eddie. You can make it from scratch, like with your own tomatoes and the whole 9 yards, or you can just get a jar of sauce and start from there. And you know, there's just a dozens of ways to do that. So our beans are done. We're gonna let those. I'm gonna take a peek at them just to make sure they're good and bubbly. Perfect. Okay, so they're good and they're ready. So we're gonna. This is something Mr. 513 usually does for me. He is my egg peeler when we make deviled eggs. And the last time we made deviled eggs on here, IT guy helped me with peeling. I don't mind peeling, but if you've got somebody who can peel them for you, it's It's amazing how much faster you can do things. Give these guys a stir. The other thing about cutting this up, it cooks faster. But like, you know, like I said, when my kids were older, they just wanted food and they wanted it fast. So I would just throw them all on a sheet pan and cook them, season them up and cook them in there. Because if there's any Lord of the Ring fans, you'll know what I'm talking about. But my kids would come home from school, they would eat, then they would go back to practice. And then they would come home for what we called second dinner. So yeah, my guys were eating at least 4 times a day when they were athletes in high school. I mean, I found out when my son was playing soccer, the average soccer player runs 7 miles per game. That's a lot. So oh yeah, you know what? Let's be honest. I mean, you know, homemade stuff in general, I think tastes better unless you get it from a really good, you know, for example, if you've got an Italian deli and you go get an Italian sandwich, it's going to be amazing. But if I'm making it at home, there's stuff like, you know, you go to an Italian deli, odds are they've made their own mozzarella, and it's going to be better than anything you can buy. But, you know, sometimes we don't want to go get all the stuff or make all the stuff. So I'm all for do what works for you. I know there are people out there who are disabled. They can't even chop up their own vegetables. So if you buy pre-chopped vegetables or leave the vegetable out, I will never shame anybody for those kind of things. I know some people have allergies and some people have, one of my sons dated a young woman who could not eat onions or garlic. And I looked at him, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to cook for this woman. And I never did. They didn't date long enough for me to do that. But I was like, how in the world? That was my thought anyway. So, oh, the zucchini fritters and muffins. He really liked them. He, of course, smothered them in sauce. He also, we talked about it, and we had talked about this yesterday, about maybe adding sausage to it. And he's like, if this had sausage in it with the zucchini, he's like, I feel like that would feel like the best of both worlds, where it's like not too much, not all meat or not all pork. So he was that when he heard that, he practically lit up because he was like, that would be like the perfect way to eat this. So we might try that again in the near future to see how that tastes. And the muffins, those muffins were so tender, you guys. They almost were too tender for being in the little containers. So we're getting some color on our chicken. And I do want it to all be cooked before I put the sauce on. Because once I put the sauce on, it only needs to warm the sauce up. So we're going to keep going at it. So, yesterday, Eddie, I made zucchini fritters and zucchini muffins. So that's what, even if the fact that it was in there longer than it should have been, I'm telling you, that was my favorite way to make a hard-boiled egg. It's in my Instant Pot. It's amazing. So I'm going to rough chop these because they're going to get mixed up anyway. And the pickles are minced really fine. So yep, I thought I could do that. So I'm going to do this with my hand, not with a knife. So it's something I used to do when I made egg salad. So if you just break them in half, then you can just kind of break them into smaller pieces, whatever size you want them to be. Easier than chopping them, to be honest. So I know, garlic and onions, I can't imagine cooking without them. everything I cook has garlic and onion in it, practically. I mean, if it's a savory thing, you will almost always see one or the other in it, if not both. So, okay, and I am going to rinse my, actually, I'll wait. I'm going to take these last 2 eggs and I'm going to quarter them just to put them on top and make them look kind of pretty. Well, that's not going to work very well, but that's okay. Let me give my hands a rinse, and then I'll give the chicken a stir again. By the way, y'all know I lost my one uncle this week, and his funeral is next Monday. So I am not sure what I'm going to do here. We were supposed to have company over the weekend from out of town. So I may not be able to cook on Monday. I will let you guys know by Thursday what's going on if I'm not going to cook on Monday. And maybe I'll go Tuesday through Friday next week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that might be happening. Put this underneath so it catches. But do you know how many women have told me they put stuff in there and that their husbands think they don't like? I think that's hilarious. So sorry, Eddie, if you're the cook in the family, maybe you do that for your wife too. I don't know, but yeah, I used to do that with my kids. So I'm gonna pretty much quarter these so they're just kind of bite size. Pop them in there. Actually, I need to stir this all up to make it kind of saucy, if you will. Yep, you do what you have to. Exactly. I told you guys the story of putting spinach in my kid's smoothie, and he caught me doing it, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I've been doing this for weeks. You didn't even notice." So for the extra protein, because he was a carbaholic, and I'm like, "Look, I know you're an athlete and you need your carbs, but you need some protein too." So I'd sneak it in his smoothies, and that worked. So yeah, some of these have kind of blown apart, but that's okay. You know what? To me, that'll give it a nice, like, different kind of texture. So these are cooked beautifully though. Ouch. They're still hot though, I can tell you that. I said to put them aside to cool. They didn't cool as much as I thought they would. They're not unbearable, but they're just kind of hot. I'll give this a stir again. You know, it's funny. I think about things like cooking and people talking about how you should never multitask. And I'm like, there's no way to cook a meal like this without multitasking. It just doesn't happen. So I would say that's pretty well done. I don't want to overcook it because it is chicken breast, which means it will taste like bleh if I do. I'm going to add some sauce in here. Now, the difference between my husband and myself is that I like a coating of sauce. For my husband, it could swim in the sauce. So, I will put this in. You'll notice everything will be coated, but there won't be a whole lot of extra, which is fine by me. He will, when he serves it to himself, he will add much more sauce than I have. Like I said, I like it coated. He likes it swimming. So, and he will tell you it's all about the sauce. So, I love that man. And we've made peace with our food differences. I could have cut these beforehand, but I was afraid with the eggs in there that they would have severely overcooked. And with as soft as they are, I'm absolutely sure they would have. So, which is why it's doing that. So I'm actually going to turn that off. It'll get nice and caramelized, but like I said, he may cook some more sauce when he gets home. But I may have enough in there that when I leave sauce behind, it'll be enough for him. I don't need this anymore. As I fling it all over the kitchen, I'll wipe off the laptop. IT guy, if you're here. I don't even know if you're here. If you're here, let me know. He's supposed to be here in case I have a problem. So, exactly. When you cook, you have to multitask. When you're a chef, you may not because you have people to cook for you. All the other stuff. But, anywho. Yow, got to the bottom. This one's really hot. All right, you. No need to be so... Yikes. But a couple of them blew apart. That's for sure. Which I forgot to put holes in them. So that's my fault. I didn't even think about that until just now when I was like, oh, that one blew apart. I was like, oh, that might be because you didn't put holes in them. Oops. Yikes. Okay. The little chow hounds here at my feet. I said, you know, the worst part about that is it is really, it gets disconcerting some days to cook because you're like, you literally have an audience that is willing you to fail. Drop things. Little boogers that they are. All right, so there's the smushed one. Again, texture. So, rinse this hand off. Okay, it is just about that time, y'all. Pull up a plate here. Clean up the mess here. All right, we're going to stir up our tater salad. I don't know. I do feel like this would benefit from some bacon. I don't know about you all, but yeah, I think it would. But this is what we're doing because this is what we got for today. That one went over the wall there for a sec. All right, so there's that. If we want to make it pretty, we can kind of always put the little... You know what? I'm going to take a little bit out of there before I do that so I can taste it. It'll look pretty when Mr. 513 gets home. So there you go. He'll be happy. Again, he'll probably mush all that in anyway, but it'll look pretty for now. Just going to put that one right in the middle. All right, so there's that. I'll put a little paprika on top. I just touched mine. So there's our potato salad. Gorgeous. I'm going to move that over here. Here's our barbecue glazed chicken. Put this over here as well. Did pretty well, you guys. Again, in about an hour. So be a little bit over, but not much. Okay, like I said, tomorrow we're making the cordon bleu casserole. I think that's going to be really, really good. And then we're going to serve that with the potato and green bean salad. If you're hanging out with us still, and you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. We're on our way to try to monetize this so we can do some even better stuff. So I'm going to pull this out of here. Just grab a little bit of the the baked beans. I don't know about you guys, but I love the baked beans when they get like that little bit of a, almost like a crust on top, if that makes sense. I think they're so good when they do that. They're almost, again, that's almost like that caramelized kind of thing. And then the great debate in my family, fork or spoon. My husband will use a spoon to eat this. And he might even use it to eat the potato salad. Not to eat the meat, though. He would have to use a fork for the meat, which cracks me up. That's the... He'll use both. I'll just use the fork. So, all right. Because I'm the least sure about the potato salad, I'm going to try that first. Honestly, I like the flavor, but even I want it to be a little saucier, if that makes sense. So, oh, bye, Eddie. Um, it's nice. It really is. It's got just that little back note of spice from the Cholula, but I think I'd like to have more sauce with it. So I think when I get off of here, that's what I'll do. I will make up like a little bit more of the sauce, so that when Mr. 513 has his, I'll have enough sauce for him. So it's a good recipe. I like it. If you want to look it up, it's called deviled egg potato salad. I did it a little differently. You'll see that, but the ingredients are basically the same. They call for the white potatoes. I use the red. So be it. That's the other thing, is that, like, it is still warm. Some people prefer it chilled. Some people prefer it warm. You could probably chill it and then warm it back up, and that would be amazing as well. But definitely would like a little more sauciness to it. So anyway, these guys, like I said, Bush's baked beans out of a can. I just add ketchup, mustard, garlic powder, onion powder, and then you can either chop up an onion. I just wasn't in the mood today, so I used the dried minced onions. So I love those things. That's true. Warm potatoes do suck up the sauce. You're right. Which is probably why they tell you to chill them for a little bit longer. So anyway, I love the Bushes. I'm so glad I like them, because I liked the Van Camps for so long. And then to not be able to eat them anymore was like, oh man. There's so many things that we made at the time. And then this, I already know what this is going to taste like. And there's a lot of people who don't like this sauce because it's on the sweet side. I like it. Again, I'm not a person who likes spicy stuff. So, I much prefer this. It has a little bit of a kick to it, but again, with the sweetness. And I'm kind of at the point now where I would rather cut it all up in the beginning and make it easier to eat dinner. So there you have it. Indoor picnic for today. I would love to know, if there's another picnic item you'd like me to try to make. I'd love to do that. I'm going to do a week of copycat recipes next month too. Currently thinking about Chipotle chicken. I found a really good recipe for that. Nice. Yeah, see, That's what this place is famous for, is their ribs with this. So good. I just happened to not have any ribs and I had chicken. So, what we're going to be doing, I can't even remember what they all are now. Oh, we're going to do a copycat Whopper. And then the copycat Chipotle chicken. And since they have the cilantro rice, I don't eat that. So that'll be fun for me because I love their chicken. Um, Can't think of what else. I've got a whole list. I'll bring them. I'll bring it tomorrow. We can talk about it. But always open to ideas, and I'm still looking to do the a couple of lives possibly for subscribers only to talk about what we're going to make in the future and let you guys have some input. So if you want input into what I cook, subscribe. So anyway, yep, I will let IT guy know you said hello. I will see you guys tomorrow. I wish you a wonderful day. Remember to eat well, be well, and I love you. See you tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye.